everybody, Uncle Nudge here. It's cold, but I do kind of a rockhounding 101 today, 101 plus. And Rachel B9164 writes, talking about me, as a YouTube content creator, it would be great to see you go over the rules and regulations on rockhounding, as well as the rockhound rules of conduct. Other people are looking to you as an example of how to legally collect rocks on public lands. Well, I can't give legal advice, that's for sure, but I can tell you my understanding of things. And basically, if it's in your area, is gonna maybe be different, but my understanding is that DNR land, your limit is 25 pounds of rocks per day, 250 pounds a year, and that kind of comes along with a Discover Pass. So it's quite possible, and I don't know this for sure, that if an area says you need a Discover Pass, that could be DNR land. I don't know that. There's probably an app you can have that tells you what land you're on. Okay, BLM land has a daily limit of 250 pounds for most all rocks. And good percentage of the time I rockhound on private land, which basically there's no limit if you have permission, with the exception of the property owner also has to have the mineral rights, and sometimes they don't. Usually they always do, but sometimes, maybe if there was gold there in the past or something, maybe the previous owner kept the mineral rights. So, but private land, you need to get permission, except for if somebody owns land on one side of the river and the other side. You can go between the high water marks of the river if the river is something called a navigable river, and that's a determination made long ago. And but if it's not a navigable waterway, then the property owner on each side actually owns the waterway too, and you're not allowed to go on it. And if it was a navigable waterway, you can't walk through somebody's private property without their permission to get to it. You have to start in a public area and work your way back. Okay. There's no rockhounding whatsoever in national parks, national monuments, national wildlife refuges, national scenic areas, tribal lands, and I'm not sure about state parks. I think it might vary. You could probably ask the ranger at a state park. National forests, I'm not sure. So that's, takes some further research. So occasionally you may make a mistake, you don't know where you're at, and there's really no way to tell. But just be smart. And as far as etiquette, don't leave garbage. It's pretty obvious. Cigarette butts, shells, like bullet shells, anything like that. And if you do make a hole, I think you're allowed to go down 4 feet if you wanted to dig something out. But if you make a hole, you need to fill it back in with something. And as far as like tools and stuff, you need to dress appropriately, of course, and maybe have gloves. Make sure you got enough to where in case you needed it, you could be a little warmer. It's easier to take something off than if you don't have nothing to put back on. And a backpack or a bucket. I like a bucket myself, but a lot of people use backpacks and they just keep it open and they toss things in. When you're getting some heavier stuff, some people do that too. I just prefer a bucket myself, or a little bag. They have the little like chicken feed buckets that are flat on one side. They're about, I think about 2 gallons or something, which is a real nice size. And I think if you've ever seen currently rockhounding, I think that's what they use when they go out. Definitely need a walking stick, especially if you're going to be in the water or on rocks like around here. You have to get that thing planted well. That's your, I call it my lifeline. That's my balance spot. That's my, if I slip, I can grab that thing and it's secure. It's always secure when I take a step. Don't step on rocks, like the top of rocks. Always get your foot down low, so you get it in the lowest spot, and then you can't really slip off. If you do, you're not going to go anywhere, and then you've got your stick planted. But if you start walking on top of rocks and stuff, you're going to slip and fall and maybe hurt yourself. So I got some neoprene gloves. They're called Spontex Bluettes. Pretty cheap. You might need some kind of extraction tool, and I'll show you mine here in a minute. Maybe a good idea is bear spray, because it may not even be a bear. It may be a mountain lion. It may be a human that or something that goes bang. And I always have a whistle with me too in my pocket on my keys, and it's loud. And so you could blow a Morse code, SOS, beep 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 beep. That's a SOS. Means help, basically. So plan ahead. Tell somebody where you're going, whether it's a text, you talk to them on the phone, or an email. Tell them when you plan on being back, and just be smart about it, especially if you're out by yourself. I'm out by myself most of the time, but I always either talk to somebody or text them or email them when I leave and when I get back. So okay, so in my tools I have my bucket, which is a Yeti, really strong. It weighs 4 or 5 pounds though, but very strong. And I put holes in the bottom of mine so water can go in and out, just like that. So when it's in, the bucket will stay once it fills up, and then it'll just drip right out real quick. But it's nice too when you got something heavy, you can just kind of float it through the water. Okay, another thing I always carry, I don't carry water like in a jug or canteen or anything. I just carry a life straw, and with the life straw you open up the one end and basically you suck through the other end, and you got water, and that's good for some ridiculous amount like 5,000 or 10,000 gallons before you got to change them. They don't cost very much, and so that's so nice not having to carry like 6 pounds of water. And then I have an extraction tool, which is just a little crowbar. I just made a spot for it, and I definitely use it a lot. I mean, you could have a screwdriver, you know, whatever it is. And so I think that's kind of my tools. And I would say when you're looking for a place to rock hound, just go down and look at the gravel. And so I don't know if I'm in the best spot here, but there doesn't have to be any big rocks. It can just be little gravel. And so you look at the gravel and it's like, okay, what's in this gravel? Is it all just gray? Or is there colors and stuff in here? So if you look around here, there's a lot of colors. Look at that red. So that means with these small rocks, there's going to be big rocks just like them. And whether it's just small stuff that you pick up, you know, a couple pounds, whatever, and put them on a shelf in a vase or whatever it may be, and then, you know, maybe you start picking up a big one here and there, put it in on your porch railing or something, or your garden. And you know, here's one I just found a little bit earlier, and it's kind of ugly, but yet kind of unique. Now, if I found that, if I was a super casual rock hounder, I'd be thrilled to find that. And there was a time that I was. And now I just look for more unusual stuff. And then, you know, you don't want to get, of course, too much weight, and you don't want to get careless when you're walking back with too much weight. So it's kind of a cool green one here I'm going to check out. Get things wet, because that's when you really see what they look like. And that's kind of a cool little green flat rock. I mean, you just use that as a paperweight or whatever, and you can be, wow, I remember when I found that. And it's a memory. You know, it's awesome. I have one at home that was my first kind of bigger one that I could not get it out. I tried and tried and tried, and I thought, you know, I had to have it. And so I don't remember if it was the next day or a couple days later, I went back up. It was in the mountains. I actually went back up with my crowbar, and I got it loose. I was so happy and got it out of there. I think I had a DeWalt tool bag or something I put it in, and that worked really good. Actually, I ruined that one eventually and went to a bucket, and then oh man, it's cold. Yeah, and then but that kind of started me on some of the bigger rocks. And so then I started putting them on my railing until it filled up, and then along my flower garden, and you know, just everywhere. Even though I've always collected rocks, it was like, wow, these are cool. And some rocks polish up really nice. You know, I wound up getting some polishers and stuff, but other ones, what you can do is get some mineral oil. I like to use food grade mineral oil, and you just put it on with a cloth and Especially one like these polish up so nice. But even like this, you put mineral oil on it, and then it will look, eventually it'll just look like it's wet all the time. It soaks in. And it just depends on what kind of rock it is. Some rocks will not, they'll just keep absorbing. But other ones, you only need to put a couple coats on. And like this, it looks like a chert. It's like petrified. And, you know, I used to pick this stuff up a lot. And now it's in my garden. But yeah, I mean, it's got some cool spots on it. It's definitely like agatized. But fun to pick up. You know, like this little one's really ugly, but you know, I've been picking those up since I can remember, like 5 years old or something. And you know, I'm seeing a few more here now. Just looking, here's a jasper. Kind of ugly on that side, but there's some nice green. I see a little rock here, and got a kind of neat stripe. So the main thing is just look, and you'll be amazed if you start finding some cool stuff, that if you just stop and really look, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff, and your eyes just get trained, peripheral vision, just to spot stuff that's out of the ordinary. So I can stand somewhere or even stand up on something higher and just look around, be like, okay, does anything catch my eye? And it could be the shape, the texture, the color. These just caught my eyes here. I see color, I see jaspers, I see a bunch of different ones. I see this green, see some striping here. This is all frozen, so it's not wanting to move. But so anyway, hopefully that helps some of you out there. And you know, just use common sense. Be safe. Happy rock hounding. Uncle Nudge out.